know when nobody talks about in healing spaces? The anger, not the polished, journaled about, oh, I processed this kind of anger. I'm talking about the red hot, chest tight. I couldn't even explain it if I tried, and I'm really trying not to crash out and get life in prison type of anger. The kind that you have been sitting on for 20 years because every time it showed up, someone called it sin. Yeah, we're talking about that today, so stay with me. Here's what they told you. Anger is ungodly. Anger is pride. Anger is something that Christian women just don't do. So you didn't do it. You completely forgot about the scripture that says, hey, be angry, but sin not. And you just smiled through it. You forgave quickly. Not really, but since y'all want to fake it, I'm going to fake it too. You let things go. Not because you were healed, but because you were trained to swallow it. Lord, why can I hear TD Jakes talking about swallowed? Have you ever been swallowed? I need y'all to focus. So now this swallowed anger is living in your body. It's in that thing you call your anxiety. It's in your people pleasing. It's in every relationship where you go quiet instead of verbalizing what you need. Today, I want to help you understand why the anger is still there, what is actually protecting, and the part that your nervous system needs to hear. It's not a character flaw. It is a wound. But first, I'm Renisha, and if nobody has checked on you today, that's exactly why I'm here. All right, girl, let me paint you a picture. So you're 8 years old, right? Something happens that is legitimately upsetting. Maybe your mom snapped on you in front of your friends. Maybe you watched her dismiss you for the 5th time this week. And you get angry, rightfully so. But here's what happens next. You look around and realize that your anger is not welcome. Not here. Maybe she escalated. Maybe the church told you, honor your mother, honor your father. Maybe you got the look, and you know the look. You know that look that says, I wish you would. So you did what any smart child would do. You buried it. And every time after that, when something made you angry, when a friendship was unfair, when a church leader dismissed you, when a man talked to you any kind of way, you buried that too. You already learned way back when that your anger cost way too much. Here's what I need you to understand. The anger did not disappear. Emotions that aren't expressed get stored in your shoulders, in your stomach, in low-grade anxiety that you just can't explain. And I know I'm talking good because I have tears forming now. Somebody needs to hear this. You're walking around saying, I'm fine, I'm fine. You're telling everybody you're fine. You are not fine, and that's okay. What you learned to call peace was actually suppression with good manners. And this is the part where I need to bring in your nervous system, because this is not just some spiritual failure. This is biology. When you grew up in an environment where expressing anger was dangerous, your nervous system learned to shut it down before it got you in trouble. That's called a freeze response. Your body is saying, listen, we can't afford that emotion right now. And it suppressed it at the nervous system level, not just in your mind, but in your body. That's why you can talk about something that hurt you and feel absolutely nothing. That's not healing. That's a nervous system that learned to go numb so it could survive. I used to be so numb. And here's the thing that nobody preached about on Sunday morning. Chronic suppression of strong emotions like anger keep your nervous system in a constant state of low-level threat. Your body is always braced. It's always waiting for the next thing to go wrong. That's why you startle easily. That's why certain conversations send you into shutdown. That's why rest never actually feels like rest. I have a free audio experience called It's Not Your Faith, It's Your Nervous System. It's linked in the description. I need you to understand that what you have been calling a lack of faith is actually your body doing exactly what it was trained to do. You're not broken, you're patterned, and patterns can change. I want to reframe something for you, because the way anger has been preached at you, and I get it, right? The way it's been preached at you, like it's always destructive, always demonic. And baby, I can even give you some stories about that spirit in deliverance ministry. But I'm not just a deliverance minister. I'm also an inner healing coach, right? Some of you were taught that anger is just something that you need to repent for, but that's only half of the story. Anger is information. It's a signal. It tells you something here is not right. A boundary has been crossed and you're being treated less than what you are. In a healthy environment, you would have been taught to listen to that signal. Instead, you were taught to ignore it. Some of you got beat. Your parents would just beat you or snatch you up instead of sitting down and saying, hey, why are you so angry? What's wrong? Talk to me. And you already know when you ignore a signal long enough, the alarm gets louder. It just starts showing up as something else. Anxiety, depression, rage that comes out at the people who had absolutely nothing to do with the wound that you are carrying. The way some of you are out here going 0 to nuclear over something small, it was never that deep. And it's not because you're unstable, it's because you have 30 years of unprocessed anger that's finally finding an exit. The argument about the dishes was never about the dishes. You almost stroked out going off on a man. The root cause was not about the dishes. Here's what I want you to hear. Your anger was protecting a little girl who wasn't allowed to matter. It was the only thing standing between her and complete erasure. Before you shame yourself for having it, honor it, because for some of you, it kept you alive. Now it's time to let it speak safely instead of continuing to allow it to eat you from the inside out. Real quick, if something is already hitting you, drop your favorite colored heart in the chat and let me know who told you that your anger was too much. Was it your mother, your father, the church, a man, a woman? Just drop it in the comments. Y'all know I read every single one. And if you found this video because a friend sent it to you, hola, you're in a safe place. Make sure you subscribe. I am here every single week. All right, so let me hold up a mirror for a second because anger has a very specific profile and I need you to see yourself in this. I'm not trying to shame you, but you need to know exactly what you're working with. Suppressed anger might sound like you if you tend to over apologize constantly for things that weren't your faults, for existing, for taking up space. Because somewhere deep down, you learned that your emotions, especially the big ones, were an inconvenience to the people around you. Suppressed anger might sound like you if you go quiet in conflict instead of speaking up. Not because you don't have nothing to say, but because last time you said it and something bad happened. So your body still braces like you're that 8-year-old standing in the kitchen. Suppressed anger might sound like you if you're exhausted in a way that rest won't fix. Some of you are using enormous amounts of energy every single day to keep that anger contained, managing it, monitoring yourself, making sure nobody sees it. That is a full-time job that your body has been working for free. Therapy might call it emotional regulation. Baby, I'm going to call it what it is. You have been your own emotional bouncer since childhood, and nobody should have to do that. And finally, you may be carrying suppressed anger if you can't remember the last time you allowed yourself to be angry. Not performed for comfort, not managed just for the sake of peace, just actually angry. So what does healing the angry part of you actually look like? First, it requires that you acknowledge that the anger exists. Don't perform it. Don't dump on people who don't deserve it. Just stop pretending that it isn't there because you can't heal what you won't name. Some of you are still stuck because you're in denial. Second, it requires you to go back to the original wound. Not to blame, not to stay stuck there, but because your nervous system is still responding to something that happened 20 years ago as if it's happening now. Until you bring that wound to light with the right support in a safe container, your body is going to keep sounding the alarm. Third, and this is the one that changed everything for me, you have got to grieve what you deserved but didn't get. You deserved a mother or a father who let you be angry sometimes. You deserved a church that didn't weaponize your emotions against you. You deserved somebody who looked at the fire in you and said, that's not a problem, that's your power. The grief isn't weakness, it's really a path. And I can tell you from personal experience that there is a freedom on the other side of that thing that pray it away, just pray it away, never touched. Now, of course, I can't walk you through this on a YouTube video because the how is not just some little checklist. It requires a container. It requires someone who can hold you while you do this. That's the work I do. If you are ready to stop managing the anger and start healing the wound underneath it, I have 3 ways you can work with me right now. Number 1, if you just need help understanding what your nervous system is even doing, you can download my free audio experience called It Is Not Your Faith, It's your nervous system. If you already know the mother wound is the root, then the mother wound recovery suite, I can make it available. So I'll add a link under this video specifically that goes directly to that. This is only for women who are serious about doing this work. So that would be number 2. Number 3, if you are ready to do this with me in real time, you want real support from someone who has sat in your seat, you can apply for my coaching program called Bloom. I have an 8-week package and a 16-week package, and they both include inner healing and deliverance work. It is exactly what I wish I had when I was in the midst of this. All right. So you're not too angry. You're not too much. You were just in a room where small people needed you to stay small. But baby, you don't have to stay small anymore. Subscribe, leave me a comment down below, and I will see you all next week.